Hello. This is for the assignment for the um, post about yourself. I made a little change. The post about yourself, it gives you three items, where you're supposed to talk about a short list of people you have interpersonal relationships with, a short list of opportunities you've had to give public speeches, and then to talk a little about yourself. I felt it would be important, being as that we're trying to introduce ourselves. I think I'll talk about myself first. So I'm going to move number three up to number one. Um, my name is Aaron Curtis. I live in Spanish Fork, Utah. A couple interesting things about myself: that I've been married for 13 years now. Just had our 13th anniversary on the 20th of August. Four children. One of them was just born a week and a half after our anniversary. So we have a 2-week old now. His name is Mateo. Three other children are Lucy, Carlos, Abby, 11, 7, and 5 years old, and then the 2-year-old. We own our home here in Spanish Fork, and interesting things about myself, two interesting things. My mom passed away when I was 17. Both my older brother and sister were on their missions at the time, so I got the opportunity to be a parent almost. After my mom passed away, my dad kind of got into a shell of his own, where he worked a lot, and I don't blame him. It was a rough time on him. My brothers, feed my brothers, make sure they got ready for school, shuttle them around to different appointments and different things they had. So that was an interesting one. I lived in Hawaii at the time, and around this same time, I would go down to the water that I lived pretty close to, and I would swim out into the bay as for my workout. I swam out into the bay, and I saw a reef shark, a white tip reef shark, sleeping on the bottom, and I wanted to see it swim. I swam down next to it, and it just stared at me, and I stared at it. I then started throwing rocks at it to see if I could get it to swim. Now, this is not my most intelligent story, most intelligent thing I've ever done, but it's kind of an interesting story, is that I did throw rocks at a shark while I was in the water with it to get it to swim away. Now, I'm going to jump back to point number one, which is a short list of people you have the best interpersonal relationship with. Explain if there's something about these people that makes it easier or harder to have an interpersonal relationship with. I decided not just do an easier or a harder. I did both. They're not real long points. And the first person on my list is my wife. It's easier to have an interpersonal relationship with her, I feel, because we have to. I mean, we're married, we live together, we sleep in the same bed, we have children. We have to. Now, it's harder because we're together, simply put. Relationships where you're never going to see the person again, or where you only have to spend an hour a day for a week with them, much effort into, you're not going to be able to work on it as much. You're not going to get as deep of an emotional, personal connection with them. So it takes more effort. It does. So in that sense, it's more difficult, harder. The other person I have on this list is a friend of mine. His name is Alan. It's easy to have this interpersonal relationship with him because we share so many similar viewpoints. For example, political, societal, religious, etc. We just think very much alike. We have very similar thought patterns. So that's very, very easy to keep that relationship going and get along with each other. What makes it more difficult now is we met because we worked together. That's how we started getting along. That's how we became friends. But we don't anymore. We haven't worked together for 3+ years. And so now we make do with a call here and there. We chat online periodically, send emails, post on Facebook, but it does make it more difficult to chat. Now, for the public speeches that I've given, probably like many of you, I've given a number of public speeches, whether it be talking in Sunday at church or at school. I remember a couple of them, and the three I've chosen. I actually wrote down three examples, specific examples. One was in a Spanish class where I had to give a presentation in Spanish, and I do speak Spanish fluently, so in that sense it wasn't difficult. But I had to give uh, an in-depth 15-minute presentation by myself on a specific geographic location in Spain. And so you're just standing up there in front of everybody. There's really no feedback. So you're just listening to yourself, and it feels like you're droning on. I've always felt that the preparation really helps with that. So if you know what you're going to be saying, what you're trying to get across, and you say it out as you've planned it, then you'll get your message across with little feedback from the group, live feedback from the group. Um, Another one was in an English class. It was for an English class. It was kind of fun as preparation for our big writing project. The teacher had us do presentations. I want to say they're about 10-minute presentations on any subject we want them to. We just had to be very prepared and had to be very knowledgeable on the subject. And so I like networking. I like working with routers and switches. So I did my 10-minute presentation on the basics of how your home internet works, what your router is at home, what specifically it does, how it works, and some common issues. I got a lot of compliments. I feel like I did a good job, and I feel like I was very prepared. Um, then other one that I've done before is training at work. I remember doing a specific training at work for a device that we were having to upgrade the firmware on. And we had quite a few of them out in the field with our customers, and we had to go through each one and update the firmwares to go ahead and close some security gaps that they may have with the older firmwares, etc. Those are the three that I have that I remembered or thought to think about. Once again, my name's Aaron. I look forward to speaking with you all throughout the class, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.